with Tim Gilbert and Julie Snook. This is Racing Dreams.
Yes, and then it was nearly over. We have been here for the best part of 3 months or more, and what a spring it's been, Julie.
Oh, it's been absolutely sensational. Record crowds, more than $66.3 million in prize money for the Sydney Everest Carnival. We wanted to come back with a bang this spring off the back of a really tough couple of years, and I think it's safe to say that Racing New South Wales and the Australian Turf Club have achieved their goal. It's been pretty extraordinary. In today's show, we're going to take a look back at some of the highlights. So let's look at what's coming up today. We are indeed going to look back at the highlights from this year's record-breaking Sydney Everest Carnival.
We are on the highway to the Hunter. We're live to Newcastle ahead of today's $1 million feature.
And he puts the magic in the millions. We catch up with Jerry Harvey ahead of January's extravaganza.
Well, what a few months we've had. Of course, the Melbourne Cup was amazing. Everything in Sydney has been extraordinary. The New South Wales Spring saw a host of new and traditional feature races offering an eye-watering, wait for it, $66.3 million in prize money.
Since George Main Stakes Day back in September through to the Five Diamonds Ladies Day just last week, Racing New South Wales and the ATC have hosted 9 carnival race days. So let's relive some of the highlights. The spring of 2022 has been one hell of a ride. A record-breaking Everest Carnival, certainly worth celebrating.
It's not how you win them, it's how you celebrate them. I'm going to be nice and bloody after this one, I'll tell you that now.
The brilliance started early this spring for the James duo of Cummings and McDonald, thanks to superstar stallion Animo. First, there was the George Main Stakes. The Tab Epsom saw its third dead heat in 157 years of history. Ellsberg and Top Ranked sharing the spoils.
Top Ranked the outside and Ellsberg the inside. This is a ripper of the finish to the Tab Epsom.
While a laid-back chap by the name of Jacquino sprung out of nowhere to win the Golden Rose, putting trainers Mick Price and Michael Kent Jr. at the base of Everest. Speaking of, what a day. A 50-year-plus record crowd of more than 46,000 were on hand for the upset of the carnival.
Giga kick, Nature's driver length in front, Private Eye, Giga kick down the outside, wins the Everest.
27-year-old Clayton Douglas, just 18 months into his training career, given every reason to jump for joy.
It was a beautiful ride. I think that should should probably send that to apprentice school, that one.
The party didn't end there, with the crowds flocking west to see Peter Moody and Luke Nolan back at it again, wishing for a win in the $10 million Golden Eagle.
I wish I went in front. Here's Van Gogh the outside. Van Gogh goes to I wish I win, who kicked and won.
The money is unthinkable.
Well, I've just developed and building my stables at the Pakenham Racecourse. The first time in 35-year history as a trainer that I'm going to own my own operation, so the bank manager will probably be happy to see it.
By the first Tuesday in November, the dancing shoes were on.
Rustic Steel are half to Cisco Bay. Rustic Steel's clinging on. Rustic Steel wins the big dance.
We've seen some sights and some fancy events. We've caught up with favourites.
My horse is a year older, smarter, jumping better. That wasn't a bad run the other day. Nice tight little third.
Someone sounding confident.
25s into 13s. Hello. We're not here for our health, are we, darling?
Speaking of favourites.
This is what you call racing dreams.
And got close and personal with the stars of the track. Tim went south,
It's the euphoria of the win in big races, massive prize money, the tense nervousness you get leading into a big game. It's all there in racing.
And then went west.
What is the magic of country racing?
Oh, look at the girls. Just to let your hair down, have fun and not worry.
I'm loving this. I'm almost dancing. I didn't even dance at my wedding, but we've got James and Matt here. Oh, we lost the music. Keep the music going.
Well, I chatted to some of the industry's best females leading the way at the top of their game.
What I love most now is being part of an amazing team at Arrowfield, working in a brilliant industry in Australia, a world-leading industry.
After 2 long years in lockdown, Sydney is back. So turn it up and sing it loud.
Oh, so nice, Jules. And of course, what about Animo and the Cox Plate and Kieran Maher and David Eustace going on a gold trip in the Melbourne Cup? Racing in this country is just unbelievable. But it was an amazing Everest Carnival. I think Everest Day I ate my body weight in prawns. Dare I say it, it was where stories were made, Jules.
For more on this, we're joined by Mel Madigan from the Australian Turf Club. Good morning to you, Mel.
Good morning, Julie. Good morning, Tim.
Mel, what an extraordinary spring. The team at the ATC must just be thrilled.
Oh, Julie, it was just truly outstanding. I mean, we're still pinching ourselves. It was a marathon, 8 weeks of world-class racing. As we saw, I just loved watching those highlights there. What an incredible time. I mean, Sydney racing has never been stronger. This is Sydney's time to shine, and we absolutely did that over Carnival. And people are still talking about it, which is a real sign of success.
And it was where stories were made. Of course, Giga Kick winning on Everest Day in beautiful bright sunshine was arguably the pinnacle of the spring. It was an extraordinary day.
It was an absolutely extraordinary day. The weather gods shined on us, which was amazing. These records were broken, Tim and Julie, and that's what made it just so fantastic, is that the demand for Sydney racing is well and truly back. We had, as you said before, a record crowd attendance on Tab Everest Day, over 46,000 people. We sold out of all of our hospitality 5 months in advance of the day. We created new hospitality experiences just to meet the demand. Our wonderful racing and wagering partners, Tab, recorded record wagering results. It was just truly outstanding. And of course, the prize money. I mean, thanks to our partners Racing New South Wales, $66.3 million in prize money. It just keeps going from strength to strength. And of course, we just saw it there, the absolute iconic moment, the pre-race hype leading into the Tab Everest. We had our wonderful golden girl, Australian Olympian, Emma McKeon, carry down that $437,000 Tab Everest trophy. And then you saw it, 46,000+ fans singing Sweet Caroline. And thanks to the genius idea from our CEO, ATC CEO, Jamie Barclay, this has become now an iconic fan experience at Sydney Racing Carnivals.
I was asking this question of Racing New South Wales on the Everest Day itself. What do you do next year to keep up with this crowd? Looking ahead to spring 2023, I believe the ATC is already putting plans in place.
Absolutely, we are. It's a good question. We were at capacity, and we have a very clear fans first strategy, and our whole intent is to ensure we keep growing on the incredible platform that we've just seen. We've got a wait list already for hospitality, which will go on sale next month. We're already looking at expanding our footprint for our hospitality right across the front of the track. The trackside experience is what everyone's after. And also looking at expanding our general admission experience as well. The Wink stand, I mean, we saw that throughout the Sydney Spring Carnival, has lived up to its reputation of delivering the best fan experience, general admission fan experience of anywhere in this country. So for us, it's about continuing to build, expanding our capacity and our footprint, and making sure that we continue to deliver the absolute best at world-class experience in Sydney and in Australia.
I'm a proud Westie. I think I've still got some stonewashed jeans, a thin leather tie, and some Dunlop volleys. And Rosehill Gardens, of course, brilliant again. We had some great moments there, of course, the Golden Eagle, but I also look back to Jacquinot in the Golden Rose. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I think this racing carnival was all about capturing the tradition of all of the days. I mean, every day across the carnival has its own unique identity, its own unique proposition and its own unique experience. But certainly when we look to, the big dance at Royal Randwick, which was the brainchild of Peter V'landys, which has really established what has always been a huge day on the Sydney racing calendar. And now it's just gone from strength to strength, which is amazing. But yes, Tim, as we look to Rosehill Gardens, we've also seen some amazing new innovations in racing come through this season. None other than, of course, the 4X Tab, the 4X Golden Eagle, which again shone through as a new innovation. And we saw crowds. I mean, this was Western Sydney's biggest spring party. The crowds loved it. The racing was incredible, the second richest race in Australia, and shows again that Rosehill Gardens has a true place in being the heart of Western Sydney for major events.
Well, we know the autumn will be the next major focus for the ATC, but Friday night racing is back. Canterbury Park looked absolutely sensational last night, and twilight meetings return on Wednesday as well. So what's planned for the Christmas festival? There's so much happening for you guys.
Oh, it's amazing. I keep saying racing is the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, who doesn't love racing? We never stop, and that's the beauty of it. So we go from 8 weeks of world-class racing carnival now to more of a boutique, community-based experience at Canterbury Park. And I was there last night with the team, and honestly, this is as good as it gets. This is grassroots racing. You have thousands of families trackside, petting zoos, rides. But of course, the stars of the show, the thoroughbreds and the jockeys are there up close and personal. You cannot get more of an immersive racing experience than at Canterbury Park night racing. It was just phenomenal.
And the food. And the food. Takes you around the world, Mel. But at Canterbury Park on a Friday night, you can go around the world. It's fantastic.
Oh, it was amazing. There was 20 food stalls. The best food stalls in Sydney were all lined up trackside. Kids and families, as I said, will love it. We also had corporates there entertaining Christmas and clients and social group. It's just phenomenal. I love it. We love this event.
All right, well, congratulations, Melinda, to you and the team again. It has been a remarkable spring. It's been such a pleasure to be involved and to watch the success off the back of a really tough couple of years. And like you said, I don't think any of us will forget that Everest day. That was pretty extraordinary. So thanks for joining us this morning, Mel. Lovely to see you.
Thank you always. Bye for now.
It's always a treat when our next guest joins us on Racing Dreams, Jules. He is simply the best.
He's one of our favourites. Joining us now to talk about the spring of 2022 is racing editor of the Daily Telegraph. Good morning to you, Ray Thomas. How are you?
Hi, Jules. Hi, Tim. And coming from Newcastle, what a magnificent day. And the Hunter, of course, is the focus this afternoon. This spring carnival doesn't end, guys.
What about in the Congo? I like it. And look, it's the best drying track in the country. Is it going to get to a 3, do you think, today, Ray?
Oh, it's pretty firm now, and as I said, the sun's just belting down. It's a magnificent day, and I'm with you, Timmy. I'm on in the Congo as well. He's got that soft gate 2, coming back from the Golden Eagle over 1,500 metres, where he ran bravely after leading. He finished 7th, but back to the 1,300's the key. This is right. He's in his optimum distance, and he's the one they have to catch.
He's such a stunning type as well. Let's just talk about these races like the Hunter, the Gong. They've really taken off, and it's so great to see that the sunshine is out today for those in Newcastle, and we know that thousands are expected trackside. It's just another great initiative, I suppose, to help support these clubs.
Oh, yeah, you're right, Jules. And if you look at the Hunter field today, this is the 4th running of the race. This is a high-class race already. It's a very deep race. There's 10 horses in race 9 who were entered for the Hunter, who are talented horses but couldn't make the cut, so to speak. That's how deep this field is for the Hunter this afternoon. A sprinkling of Group 1 winners and stakes winners all the way through the field. It's high class, and if you remember, it's just the 4th running of this race, so already it's established itself as a target race for so many top-class horses, their trainers and owners, etc. And then we've got the Gong next week, which is very similar. So it's keeping these top horses like the In the Congos and the Apache Chasers, etc., keeping them in training and racing deeper into the spring, and we end up with fields like the Hunter today.
Yeah, $1 million race, of course. And one of those horses that was in the picture was Wahihi Falls and would have been the favourite probably in both, but now is the favourite in race 9 and needed 4 scratchings to get there.
He's one of those horses I was talking about, Timmy. There were 10, as I said, who wanted to get a run in the Hunter but couldn't make the cut. Waihaha Falls on Monday morning was a $4 favourite for the race. Then there was huge nominations. I think by memory there was 38 noms for the Hunter, and he was in trouble of getting a start. He's missed a run today. He'll go around in race 9, but I think he'll be winning race 9, and he's one of these emerging sprinting types that we're going to hear a lot more of next year, but he'll really enjoy Newcastle today. Firm track, 1,300 metres. He's got a bit of weight, but he's got plenty of class as well.
Sounds like me, Timmy. Bit of weight, plenty of class.
Been the story of my life, the first part of it, Julie.
I won't go there, Jules.
You're a smart man, Ray. You're a smart man. Look, Ray, we've been talking this morning about what a sensational Sydney Everest Carnival we witnessed this spring. Talk to us some of your highlights, some of the race highlights that you had this year.
Yeah, look, I was thinking about that during the week, Jules, and where do you start and where do you finish? Like, you can go to a horse like Animo when he won the George Main. You knew then you were seeing Australia's next weight for age superstar. He was outstanding that day. Then you go back to a race like the Golden Rose, and Jacquinot's finishing burst that day to run down In Secret was phenomenal. Jacquinot then ran a terrific race in the Everest that Giga Kick won. In Secret went out of the Golden Rose and won the Coolmore Stud Stakes down the straight at Flemington. So once again, the Golden Rose as a race has really stood up. The Golden Eagle, I Wish I Win, was his acceleration from the top of the straight to about the 150 metre mark when he took control of the race was exceptional. You had to be exceptional that day to win that race, Jules and Tim, because the Golden Eagle was laden with Group 1 horses. I Wish I Win's not a Group 1 winner yet, but on the back of that Golden Eagle, he'll win a Group 1 race next year. In that race, Fangirl ran second. Hugh Bowman's ride on Fangirl, that'll be talked about for many, many years to come, and she was beaten. It was an outstanding ride. So, look, as I said, you can go right back through the spring, try and pick a highlight, because once you do, you then think of something else. There were so many highlights, and we're not finished yet, guys, because the Hunter will be a fascinating race today, and then we've got the Gong next week, and only a month away to the Ingham worth $2 million at Randwick. It just doesn't stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And Peter Moody, we saw it in the grub in Julie's package earlier. He's going to build his new stables on the back of the Golden Eagle win. But look, if we look at it, the jurisdictions, the main jurisdictions, Sydney that we've been talking about, and Melbourne, they're both so strong, aren't they? Like we are, and look where you are in the Hunter, regional, provincial racing. But you look at those two major centres, it's the envy of the world, these two carnivals.
Yeah, I heard you earlier, Timmy, saying that Australian racing is booming, and it really is at the moment. It's not just prize money. Like, obviously our prize money is the envy of the racing world, and I know in the Northern Hemisphere they look down at Australian racing and just shake their heads when you've got a $15 million Everest, a $10 million Golden Eagle, $1 million races like the Hunter. Well, they're not commonplace, but they're liberally spread through the racing calendar. So for participants, there's never been a better time to be involved in the sport, and for owners, because you've got syndications, etc., which are so prevalent in Australian racing, owning a racehorse is affordable. What's that saying, Jules and Tim? You can own 1% of a racehorse and have 100% of the fun, and it's never been more applicable than it is right now, because the rewards for owners, trainers, jockeys, and indeed punters are just exceptional in Australian racing at the moment.
Before we let you go, Ray, just very quickly, if you could recap your tips for today. As we can see, you are live in Newcastle this morning for the $1 Million Hunter today.
Yep. Yeah, looking forward to this afternoon, Jules and Tim. I think you'll see a promising stayer win the Beaufort, a horse called King Frankel, as his name suggests. He's a son of England's super horse Frankel. That's in race 4, the Beaufort. King Frankel, I really like him. Down to race 7, the Spring Stakes. Over the years, this has been a launching pad for many, many promising horses. I think we'll see one this afternoon. John O'Shea trains him. His name is Save a Date for Me. He's only won his last 2 starts in restricted grade, jumps to Group 3 level, but this horse, this colt, has got a big, big future. Save a Date for Me in race 7. And we mentioned earlier the Hunter, the big one. I'm within the Congo. He'll jump from barrier 2, go straight to the front. I hope they don't catch him, guys.
Me either. I've got carrying a bit of extra weight today with me on board. Good on you, Ray. Enjoy everything that
You
Newcastle...
and me both, Timmy.
Yeah, enjoy everything Newcastle has to offer.
Thanks so much, Timmy. Thanks, Jules.
Thank you, Ray. Well, stay with us. Coming up, we're back live in Newcastle after the break as the CEO of Newcastle Jockey Club joins us ahead of this afternoon's $1 million race. Welcome back to Racing Dreams. Well, breeding, racing, yearling sales, you name it. Jerry Harvey, he's involved in all of it. Now the focus for him and, of course, Katie Page is on the magnificent Magic Millions in a couple of months. God, how did that roll around quickly, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, you love the Magic Millions. Jules, he's everywhere, but I managed to catch up with him at our local bakery, the Glenorrhea Bakery, for our season chat.
Norwegian Bliss, she's starting to left now. She's digging. Norwegian Bliss goes to the other pair. Home she goes. 7 out of 7. Norwegian Bliss done it. Sharp and Smart's coming late. It's Elliptical in front from Machelade. Sharp and Smart. Elliptical just in front. Sharp and Smart goes to it the outside, lunges, and I think got up to win. I think Sharp and Smart may have got there a nose over Elliptical.
Alligator Blood, 100 metres to go. Still clear from Tuvalu. Alligator Blood holding on. The Alligator wins. Alligator Blood and Tuvalu.
You get such a kick out of winning. It makes it so good for all the losses you've had.
What about the Sydney Spring and what it's become? Peter V'landys and the gang at Racing New South Wales done a great job. Everest Day I was out there, I think I ate my body weight in prawns, but it was extraordinary. And what that race has become, and for James to come on and get Giga Kick at the last minute, it had that fairy tale edge.
Yeah, well, you know, like I used to be on the Sydney Turf Club as a director a long, long time ago, 40 years ago. But what's happened, V'landys has done an extraordinary job. Love him or hate him, he's the most influential person in racing in my time. Because under his stewardship, all of this has happened. And it's extraordinary where we are today with the prize money. You know, this game now it's gone like this. It's way up here, and this fight between Victoria and New South Wales, in a lot of ways, it's been very good for racing. And a lot of people are like, you know, we shouldn't have done it, and they compete. But when you look at the facts, it's hard to say that it's bad because this competition has taken it up here, and it's Victoria versus New South Wales. So I'm not sure. Maybe you can fine-tune it a bit, but you'd have to argue it's been very good for racing.
Both great jurisdictions of the world too, aren't they? Like Sydney and Melbourne are both great racing jurisdictions of the world.
Right up there, wherever you go in the world.
Yeah.
There's only one better, and it's Magic Millions, right? So when you go to Magic Millions, you can. It's like the golden slipper with shorts on or something, you know. Like this is a bloody wonderful day we have up there. So, in my biased opinion, Magic Millions is much, much better than either Victoria or New South Wales.
Yeah, well, there's no bias at all, is there?
No.
You've got to sell your cucumbers up there. but let's get on to that, because Magic Millions, and the other thing is unshackled by the whole COVID, drama. It's very exciting to look ahead to the early part of 2023 and everything that Magic Millions has on the Gold Coast. It's everyone's up there too.
Yep. So this year, our boys say we've got the best catalogue we've ever had. Yes. Mind you, we say that every year. But we have this year got a great catalogue. And when I talked to our managing director up there, Barry Bowditch, I said, how many horses have we got up there, yearlings, that can make $1 million? And most years he'll say 1, 2, 3, sometimes none. This year he said we've got at least 10. Wow. Right? So there'll be intense competition. We've got people coming from all over the world. And it'll be a very, very strong sale. And this in the middle of a so-called, not depression, recession coming up, and the whole world talking about a recession coming up. But we're expecting our horse sale on the Gold Coast to break all records.
And prize money, particularly looking locally here, prize money just at that level. Even if you do pay top dollar, if you get a decent racehorse, you'll make it back quick enough. And the thing about Magic Millions is not just about the sales and the races, but you've got the great show jumping, and it's got to a point this year or next year where it's almost top of the world?
Well, the situation this year on the Sunday before the sales, we've got show jumping junior in the morning, then show jumping senior, and then polo, and then a band and dancing at night on the Sunday. And the show jumping will be a prize money of 1.5 million for one day, right? Now, if it was 100 grand for one day to draw a crowd, there's no day in the world where you have $1.5 million show jumping prize money in one day. This will reverberate around the world. So again, all the glossy magazines around the world, they'll all be getting photos, you're all doing stories on it. So you end up in Paris or you end up in London or in New York and you go down and buy the local magazine and you open it up, there's Magic Millions, there's Elsa, or there's Zara, or there's whoever, and it's all talking about Australia, bringing tourism to Australia. And so being involved in all of this it's exciting, it's interesting, and then you got selling $1 million yearlings, and this is what we do it because it's exciting, it's different, it's fun.
And for those wondering, we did finish with a pie.
Did you bring any back?
No, unfortunately. I was going to cryovac some, but Jules, that is a note that I will write down for next time.
Or a cheeky little lamington.
Yes.
Don't mind a lamington.
Oh, I'm getting hungry. I've been here a long time this morning.
It is Newcastle's biggest race day on the calendar with the 4th edition of the $1 Million The Hunter.
Joining us now is Jockey Club CEO Dwayne Dowell. How are you, mate?
Good morning, Tim. Good morning, Jules.
Well, Dwayne, the sun is shining. You've got a standalone Saturday race day with more than $2.5 million on offer throughout the meet, including the 4th edition of the $1 Million The Hunter. You've got every reason to be smiling this morning.
Yeah, the anxiety levels go down when I see blue sky this morning, Jules. It was we've ordered that a few weeks ago when we had nothing but rain. But look, the racing gods have been in our favours today. A cracking day and expecting a bumper crowd. We've had more than 3,500 pre-sales and we're expecting plenty more, probably a crowd around 5,000 to 6,000 today. So really looking forward to it.
Can you tell us about the growth of, around this race? Like, it's only been going for a short time, but give us some of the idea of how it's grown and captured the imagination of the locals.
Yeah, look, as Ray mentioned earlier, the class of the race continues to improve. Horses with about a 94 rating that would have got into the field in previous years missed out this year, like Wahaha Falls. And I guess with the disruption of COVID, we get sick of talking about it, but it did affect us last year. We didn't have long to prepare because a month and a half before the Hunter Day last year, we didn't even know whether we were going to have crowds. We were able to get 3,000 on track in the last few weeks leading up to it, but we've had plenty of time to prepare. We've invested heavily in promotion of the event to the local area and really pushing the notion that it's the Hunter people's event and it's their race, and to come and embrace it. Nova Castrians are very patriotic sports people, and we think we'll get that desired result today. They'll come out in droves to support the race day.
That's the thing. You and the team have been working so hard on not just, of course, attracting the best runners you can for this field, but of course planning the trackside events. You've got the Pamper stations, the Glam Cam, you've got DJ, you've got everything that we're seeing at these metro meets happening right there in Newey today.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to cater for a variety of demographics. Obviously, the young people are well catered for with Running Touch playing after the last, which is similar to what the ATC do in Sydney. So we really have to keep up to that standard. Pamper stations, fashions on the field. There's actually a competition today as well, Jules, where people that come on track can select the winner of the Spring Stakes. And if they select that winner, they'll go into the draw to win a trip for two over to Karaka, New Zealand, worth about $4,000. So plenty of incentive to get on trackside today.
Such a rich history in this industry, in the area, of course. It's a huge area for those in other parts of Australia or even in New Zealand. We're talking, the best part of 500,000 people. And Chris Lees, what a great ambassador he is for Newcastle racing, both in Sydney, Melbourne. He does it everywhere, Chris.
He does. He's got a huge team here, very well staffed. He has about 120 horses in work in Newcastle, of which we've probably got a total of 280 to 300. So got a large proportion of horses here, and he's getting plenty of success, but he absolutely deserves it. He's got great backing from Australian Bloodstock, who are great supporters of not only Chris, but also the Newcastle racecourse as well. So, yeah, he deserves every bit of success he gets. And hopefully today, we finally cracked that first win in the Hunter for Chris with Gemsong. He's run second in that race for the first 3 years, so I guess he's due for a change of luck.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Before we get to your tips, because we will be asking you that, what's been the feeling locally heading into this race day? Has there been a good response out there?
There has been a really good vibe, and the response to all of our marketing strategies has really worked. So looking forward to a big crowd. There's lots of talk around the town, and it's also about showcasing the Hunter in Newcastle to other people. We all love living here, and we've just got to promote why we love living here and why it's a great place to come up for a destination weekend such as the Hunter weekend. So looking forward to a huge crowd. There's no excuses. We've put on a great day, so I'm sure they'll come out and support.
We won't dampen the spirits by talking about the Newcastle Knights. Oh, we could talk about the women's team because they won the comp. But anyway, hopefully they'll turn the corner sometimes. Yeah, hopefully they'll turn the corner sometimes. Finally, you got some tips?
Stop yelling and enforce.
That's right. Look, the girls are going great guns out there, but I'm sure the men will start to improve in the next few seasons.
Oh, absolutely. Have you got a few tips for the race day today, Dwayne?
Yeah, look, I think I'm in the corner of Gemsong, but I'm also very respectful of Apache Chase. Desley's brought that horse down from Queensland, and she hasn't come down here just to make up numbers. I think it's been a target race, so I'll have a little bit on Gemsong and also a bit on Apache Chase. And also like another local horse in the midway handicap. I think it's race 5, Annulus. It's trained by Scott Asprey. It won here 2 weeks ago, won very well, and I said to Scott straight after that race, if you repeat that effort, you'll go very close to winning the midway in 2 weeks' time. And he's got that horse in the field and he'll be in front a long way. It's just a matter of whether anyone can chase it.
All right, Dwayne, well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good luck to you and the team today. We hope it goes well. It's great to see great conditions for you and a wonderful field for the Hunter as well.
Yeah, thanks, Jules, and thanks, Tim.
And for people that want to follow you on that midway, it is race 5 today in Newcastle. Stay with us. We sit down with the great man, one of the greats of the industry, John Massara, to talk about the legacy of the champions of Arrowfield. Well, joining us now for the final time of this season anyway is Daisy Thomas. Daisy.
Good morning, team. Yes, we're wrapping it up this year with some nice racing, both Newcastle, obviously with Group 3 action, and Cranbourne down here in Victoria for the running of the Cranbourne Cup. So the first race we will take a look at is that Group 3 Spring Stakes up there in Newcastle. Save a date for me will be your favourite here after that last start win at Gilbert, $3.20, and pretty well supported. Robusto on the second line has been the one here that the PointsBet punters have certainly come for. Opened as much as $8.50. That was smacked into $6, and they've come again today into that $4 quote. Redenier there, $5.50 and steady enough. Kazalark there at $8 is well supported as well, as is Basquet at $9. Token Capitalist, that's gone 16s into 11s into 10s. So those 5 or 6 at the top of the page have been the ones the PointsBet punters have certainly been happy to back. We go from there across to the $1 Million Hunter, and what a race this is going to be. In the Congo, will be on pace, $5 straight out. Was $4.60, so a slight drift there. Villani on the second line of betting. Obviously won the Silver Eagle, drew off the track in the Golden Eagle. $6.50 into 6, now into $5. So really well supported, as is Apache Chase there on the third line of betting. The rest of them, 11.11. Irony there after yesterday's date, of course, $8.50, but the rest have been a touch easy in the market with all the support for Villani and Apache Chase. We move across from there. We go to Cranbourne, where it is the running, as I said, of the Cranbourne Cup. And it should be a good edition of this. Uncle Bryn on the quick back up, $3.40, and rock solid in the market. Visionary there at $4.20 has been well found. Our Playboy was $5, a touch easy out to 6. Buffalo River, 11s into 10s. Now the money comes for it, continues into $9. Ironclad, a little bit the same, a nibble there at the longer price, as with Call Sign Mav, who will be doing his best work late in that race. Race 8 on the card, and we finish it off with the Apache Cat, which will be, well, was one of my favourite horses back in the day, the big baldy face. Midwest has been best supported here. $3.40 shopped into $3.10 today on race day. I Am War there, $4.80 in from 5. Jigsaw a touch easy, 6 out to 7. Scissor Step there, $7.50. And rock solid since markets opened on Wednesday. Ranting, $11, been a nibble at the longer quote. And Sartorial Splendour and Ashford Street have had a little bit of support there at the double figure quote. If you are going to have a bet today, of course, head across to the PointsBet app. Download it, only takes a minute of your time. You get access to racing.com form analysis, get expert tips, race previews, form factors, now featuring light mode. If you are going to have a bet, of course, please remember to gamble responsibly. Tim, Julie, for the last time this season at least, it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you found a few winners. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Daisy. Well, there's a beautiful spot within the grounds of the gorgeous Arrowfield stud where the legends of the farm are memorialised forever.
They call it the resting place of legends, and one of those legends is immortalised in a very realistic statue, of course, the Broadway act that is Redout's Choice. I travelled up to the beautiful Arrowfield stud in the Hunter and caught up with the man behind it all, really, John Massara.
Redout's Choice has grabbed the lead, 50 to go, draws away, and Redout's Choice has won the diamond. Redout's Choice is coming again. Testarossa has to find. Redout's digs, he lunges and wins.
What a legend he is, and how could we continue without a statue of him to remind us every day of his contribution he made to the Australian industry and, of course, to Arrowfield itself. We built the farm on his back, essentially. We drive past every day and we continue to think about him, and he continues to deliver, by the way. Last year just ended, he was the champion sire of broodmares. So his influence will last a long time.
Snitzel, we just saw Snitzel.
That's his son, and that's his best son, and he's won 4 Australian championships, sire championships. He's 20 years of age, very fertile, very active, and an interesting stat, he has produced a stakes win by his produce once every 13 days for the last 6 years.
Wow.
So continuity of high-class race winners.
And I love the story about how you bought Redout's Choice originally.
Yeah, oh yes. Well, I was with a couple of friends in Paris, and two of us wanted to stay up and listen to the Caulfield Guineas that was being run in Australia, so we stayed up till midnight or thereabouts, and we called a friend on the phone and got them to put the phone near the radio so we could hear the Caulfield Guineas.
They reached the 200 and Testarossa, sprinting very fast, has moved up and has gone to the lead over Redout's Choice. Cassidy had to pull the whip and then pins. It's Testarossa clear though. Redout's Choice is coming again. Testarossa has to find. Redout's digs. He lunges and wins.
I turned to my friend and I said, I think we've just got to buy this horse now. I had been following him all the way through. I had been the underbidder on his mother. I had sold the breeder of him, the nomination at Danehill at the time. So I'd had an involvement all the way through. The Blue Diamond and then this race, and after that he went on as well too. So he was something very special.
What did Redout's Choice do for you?
Well, he was responsible basically for a lot of the improvements on this farm. He gave us the capacity to lift the farm up, extend it, and turn it into what it is today.
And did he sort of live beyond your expectations? Did his achievements meet what you thought would happen, or
more than meet what I thought would happen? He's left sons who are sires. He's had so many sire sons. He's got, as I say, he's the champion sire of broodmare. So his daughters are now great producers, and at the time himself, he was a great champion in Australia for 3 years. He did more than we could ever expect.
Miss Finland?
And he left us Miss Finland, whose daughters and granddaughters are racing for us now with great aplomb. And she's still wallowing around in those fields there, breeding. But she's coming perhaps to the end now because she's only 19 or 20, so there won't be many more years for her. But she gave us our greatest racing thrills.
So if you had to put Redout's Choice into a few words, what would they be?
Well, the most important horse in my lifetime for me and my family and my staff, the whole team.
It must have been a sad day when he went.
It was a sad day, and frankly, the staff couldn't get themselves to carry him from his place where he died in the stallion area to the cemetery. So we developed a new cemetery so that he could be buried in situ in the stallion area. This was the level of respect there was for him and the level of grief there was on his loss.
Because to put this in world perspective, there's few stallions that have been like him.
in thoroughbred racing.
No, he's one of the greats in our country, and there are greats around the world in other places, but he's certainly one of the greats in our country. There's no question about it. And you might remember that we shuttled him to the Aga Khan stud in France. His Highness took him for a couple of years, and he produced 9% stakes winners to runners there. I don't think the mares totally suited him in France because they're very stout mares, but he nevertheless still produced 9% stakes winners over there. So he was held in very high regard all around the world.
He'd have to be up there with the greatest sons of Danehill, if not the.
Oh, I think he is the one. He's the greatest sire son of Danehill, definitely.
Well, for the final time this season, let's bring in resident tipster Brad Gray, who is live from Newcastle this morning. Good morning, Bradley.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Good to be with you. A bit sad that this is the last show, but hopefully we can go out with our pockets full, I guess we could say.
Yeah, we'll hold the sadness because we'll be back. We'll be back in the autumn, and so will you, my dear friend. And the track
absolutely.
The track looks spectacular. We've crossed a few times, and it really is strong in the good range. It's a great drying track as well, but the blue sky, really nice.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They've had to tip a bit of water on it. Such are the conditions up here at Newcastle at the moment. So it's going to be a nice firm deck here. You're probably looking for those horses that can make their own luck. That's not to say that you can't win from anywhere because, as we know, Newcastle, nice, big, long straight. All horses tend to get their chance. But when these tracks firm up, as we saw at Rose Hill last week, if you can make your own luck on speed and then quicken at the finish, you're inevitably very hard to beat.
We'll get to your tips for Newey today in just a moment, but let's look back over the Spring Carnival here in Sydney. Is there a race that really stood out to you this carnival?
Yeah, there is, guys. I'm going to go back to the Kosciuszko. So front page for Jeff Duryea. Now, this horse, the backstory was that he was scratched in the 2 previous years of the Kosciuszko. He was hard in the market, so heartbreak for not only the trainer, but the connections. But didn't he return with vengeance there? So it was kind of like it was meant to be. He went straight for the front, a big win. He did it at both ends, and then you throw into the mix that Tyler Schiller did the riding. So there was a lot to like about the win of front page, and the story that went with it, as we so often see with these Kosciuszko winners, was just as impressive. So yeah, he gets the nod for me as far as a highlight of the carnival.
What about the best training performance of the spring? For me, it's got to be the youngster with Giga Kick. But what about you, Brad?
True. That's true. Yeah, when you're taking on the best sprinters in the world, Nature Strip, not only Nature Strip, but the likes of Eduardo, hard old heads that have been there time and time again, and you bring through a horse that was still, what, a 3-year-old, still a 2-year-old, in fact. I think it was a couple of weeks away from turning 3. So, yeah, it's hard to beat, isn't it? Yeah, he's a nice horse going forward, Giga Kick, that's for sure.
What about, and this is a very broad question, but the horse of the spring? I feel like this year, perhaps the favourites like the Nature Strips didn't, they were overshadowed by Giga Kick. This was a huge story. It wasn't just the crowd that Everest Day. It was a huge story and a huge moment. Did you have a horse of the spring?
Well, that's a good question, Jules. You put me on the spot here. I don't know. I generally think back to the horses that I've earned the most off. That's not the most sentimental element, is it? Once you're a punter, you're always a punter. So I don't know. What a story I did like was the ice bath story of finally getting the Group 1 for Brad Widdop out at Hawkesbury there. So she is a mare that had just been so unlucky for so long, and to see her finally put her nose out and get that overdue Group 1, there was a nice sense of satisfaction there with her.
Yeah, another good race today, $1 million race, where you are at the Hunter. I like in the Congo, he's a good horse out of the 2.
Yeah, he's a beauty, isn't he, in the Congo? So what you see is what you get with him. He's going to roll forward. He makes his own luck. You've got Tim Clark doing the steering. I know on paper you look at him and, you think, he had his chance there in the Golden Eagle last start, but I don't necessarily think he did because Mr. Mozart fired up to his outside. They just went too hard, and I think the 1,500 metres may have just stretched him. So back to 1,300 metres. That extra run under the belt, 4th up, rock hard fit, Gay Waterhouse, Adrian Bott, and as I say, Tim Clark, who's the best in the business as far as rating these front runners. He's going to get every possible chance today, and I think he's mighty hard to beat.
Let's have a look at some of the other races as well. Race 4, the $300,000, the Buford over 2,300 metres.
Yeah, this one's for the stayers. So you'll find today, guys, right across this Hunter program, there's something for everyone. You've got the 2-year-olds going around, you've got the Beaufort for the stayers, of course, the 3-year-olds in the Spring Stakes, and the Hunter for the open class horses. So every category is pretty much catered for. Now, with the stayers, with the horse with the most upside here, so he's trained by Mark Newnham. His name is King Frankel. Now, if you were sharp enough to get the $8 early in the week, good for you. You were too fast for me. So he's considerably shorter than that now, but he's just got a little bit more to come, I think. So he's only had the 3 starts here in Australia. He's won 2 of them. He's a last start winner, albeit at the midweeks. No weight on his back. He rolls forward, and you go to his maiden victory. Yes, it was overseas, but that was one of his big wins. It was 32 lengths he put on his rivals, and that was on a good track. So that should be an issue for him today.
Yeah, and Mark, he's doing a great job, isn't he, Mark Newnham? Like that win by Jawful Fortune the other day down in Melbourne was pretty good too. Now, what about race 6, the Trans-Tasman Trophy?
Yeah, race 6, this is my best bet of the day. So Global Osbred, that man we were speaking about a little bit earlier, Brad Widdop. Now, this is a lovely horse, Global Osbred. If you're watching the coverage today, keep a close eye on him in the yard, because he's a big tank of a horse. He's a beautiful type and really well related. And I think it's D-Day for him today in terms of he just gets everything made to order. So third up, out to the 1850, Hugh Bowman rides. He's another one that'll go forward and make his own. Like, I thought he was fantastic in the Silver Eagle first up, despite being sent around at $201, if you don't mind, before he backed that up with a good second to Waterford. And we know that Waterford is a promising horse himself. So, yeah, I think he's the clear standout across the day. And the punters have reacted to. I've noticed that every time I look at the market, he's just trimmed up that little bit more.
All right, let's roll Brad Gray's graphic for the final time this season. Let's have a look at your best bet and your roughie.
Yep, so we've got Global Osbred as the best bet. We've got In the Congo there as the feature winner, hopefully. King Frankel we spoke about for the stayers in the Beaufort. Now, a couple of roughies. One in the Spring Stakes. This is for the 3-year-olds. I can't find a lot of speed on paper, so Token Capitalist is in there. And if he takes after his dad at all, he should appreciate a firm track today. He's only had 4 starts, so he's pretty new to it, but he's another one that'll roll forward. And I don't think there's a lot of speed in the race, so he gets every chance at each way odds. Another roughie comes up in the midway, race 5, Scorched Land. Now, you're shopping at double figure odds there. He's a midway winner in the past. Didn't have a lot go right there in the 4 pillars last start. He drew wide, got a long way back, and then just had his more momentum there, checked at the top of the straight. So I think he's well placed to bounce back today.
Good on you, Brad. Looking sartorially elegant. I tell you what, if there's a Fashions in the Field, you and Ray Thomas, it'll be like the Epsom. It'll be a, it'll be a head bobber.
A ding-dong battle, head and head.
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah, I think Ray might just beat me on the hair element, so that's he's hard to beat that.
I think it's a dead heat. All right, have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Brad, and thank you, Brad, for all your efforts throughout the season as well. And of course, thank you to our great sponsors, Racing New South Wales, Arrowfield and PointsBet. We couldn't do it without you.
We could not. And that brings to a close the spring season of Racing Dreams. We'll see you real soon.
Bye.